Here's your recap on shoulder, neck, shoulders. We talked about how we can access this move from the opposite arm or the same arm. So first we'll just break down the opposite arm, horizontal, shoulder, neck, shoulder. I like to start with my arm out so that I can really launch the staff horizontally. And I'm off center right now with my hand. I bring my hand right into my armpit of my left shoulder, and I bend down and out of the way, as you can see, so that I can really get that wrap fully around my shoulder. So my arm's up in the air, and my head is out of the way. I'm not looking up at it. I'm not looking at the staff. And I wrap it around my shoulder. So you may want to just try that a couple times. Make sure that hand gets right in the armpit, and you really leave that staff to wrap around the shoulder from both sides until it's between your neck and your shoulder. After that, that's when I want to move my head forward and look at the ground so that the center of the staff can wrap around the back of my neck. So I go shoulder, neck, and then it should start wrapping to the other side of my neck. So keep doing that with both directions, both hands. Shoulder, neck. Don't forget, get that hand right in there. Shoulder, neck. As you can see, as it starts to come around, this is the moment when I'm going to want to bend down on my left side and raise my right arm in the air so that it can allow the staff to wrap around the back of the shoulder. As you can see, I almost windmill my hand forward a little bit to help carry it around. So to see that again, shoulder, neck, and then here, center point's behind me, right? It's behind me because it has to wrap around the shoulder, and I have to get myself out of the way. If my head is up, it's just going to hit me. It's not going to be able to get around, so I really have to get out of the way and get my hand, my arm windmilling to help bring it around. Shoulder, neck, shoulder. My hand goes right into my armpit to retrieve it, and that's where it launches the staff. From the side, I'm out of the way, I look forward a little bit, and then I get out of the way again. Yeah? So that's our opposite side entry for the horizontal SNES. You can do the same thing with the same arm entry. The only thing that you're doing is that you're keeping your elbow bent and at the sky, and I'm getting my hand as far into my armpit as I can. And something that is key is making sure that center point's behind me. This is going to depend on the size of your arm. So if you have maybe like really skinny arms, you may not need it to be so far away. If you have bigger arms, you may need it to be further away because from right here, it has to wrap around that shoulder to get to your neck. So if you're coming up too short, it might not get around there, right? So please be aware of where your center point is and from where you're launching the staff. And make sure that when we come down and out of the way, get out of the way, our hand goes right in our armpit to release and then to retrieve. It's like a chicken wing. Horizontal, same side, SNES. If you're having a hard time, just break down each section. Just let yourself practice this until you have it, until you're super on point with where your center point has to be. Yeah? It's got to be right there because I need that center point to travel behind my neck. And then it's behind me still so that it can travel around my second side shoulder. The vertical SNES from an opposite arm entry, I think, is what we started with. The way we approached that was that when I have this arm out to the side, I have the staff in my right arm holding it off center, I'm actually going to look toward my right because I want to be out of the way. I don't want my face to be in the rotation right here. This is all happening on my front wall plane. This vertical SNES, yeah? So that's why I get my face out of the way, because if not, I might just clock myself right in the face. So please remember to, as you're launching, look toward the staff before you launch it. We have our arm out in front of us, our shoulders actually out a little bit to really make sure that I'm wrapping around that shoulder first. And I'm wrapping pretty high up on the arm. I'm not wrapping down here because it needs to go to my neck next. So I want it to stay relatively close to my neck, okay? So if you're kind of like launching it down your arm, start to remedy that by pushing your arm out in front of you like you're reaching for something, looking away, and getting that wrap around the shoulder. You're gonna notice that I constantly am releasing very close to the point that it's wrapping around, to the part of my body that it's wrapping around. Avoid this. You guys see the difference between this and this? This gives me way more control. This is the same situation with neck wraps, all these other things that we're launching in contact staff. We really want to make contact with that launching hand, and that helps me control it a little bit more. But first, just work on that. Both sides, both directions. Your face out of the way. Clean shoulder wrap. And then, after we look away, it gets between the neck and the shoulder, and right here is when I start to dip my head down. And dipping my head down is going to help push the staff over my neck. So we go shoulder, neck. Take it piece by piece. Just the shoulder first, and then when that feels good, move on to the shoulder, neck. You'll see that I sometimes, once I'm here, if I'm losing momentum, or if you're like, this isn't going to go anywhere, use your head. Use your chin a little bit, the side of your face, to push the staff over the back of your neck, and make sure you're looking at the ground. Because this is really fully, just like the neck wraps we learned, this is what this is doing. It's doing a vertical neck wrap over our neck. Yeah? Shoulder, neck. And then for the second side, just as we started looking to our right, when the staff is in our right side, I look at the ground, and then I'm going to look to the opposite side. Shoulder, neck, shoulder. So when it's right here, center point is behind us in order to wrap around that shoulder. You can even just practice with the center point behind you, just holding it there, and then kind of wheeling your arm out, bringing your retrieval hand into your armpit, and letting the staff literally fall back behind you. So to break it down, you're going to just play with just that shoulder. Okay, then you can catch it, and from the neck, you can help guide it with the hand, but start to dip the head down and look down at the ground. And then we're here, right? We might have it locked here just for a moment. Might make sure that the center point's behind us, right here. And then I'm going to wheel my arm and get in there in my armpit. And that is it. That's for the opposite arm entry. Obviously, you can do it with the same side entry too. So I have the staff in my right hand. It's going to go over my right shoulder first. So I'm going to look to the left, because that kind of helps make room for me right here. And I'm putting my shoulder into this plane. Let's say this is my front wall plane. I actually want that shoulder to be in that front wall plane, because that's where my head is going to go, and my second shoulder. It's still vertical, right, happening right here. So I have to get this there. I'm going to, again, chicken wing, little chicken wing of an arm. Elbow is pointing straight to the side, and I have my hand right in my armpit. In there. And then this hand's ready. The staff literally just falls right into the hand. So this is an awkward position. Some people don't like this kind of launch, and that's fine. But it's just a variation that you can play with. This is how we're launching it, and this is how we're catching it. Okay? So take it piece by piece and hold it far from the center. If you're holding on center, we're not going to get it around, right? You need to hold it far from the center to make sure that that center point clears my shoulder, clears my neck. It's going to clear my shoulder again and fall into that second hand. I think I also walked you through a few exercises where we really just played with the idea of the center of the staff off the back of the shoulder. And from here, I shift my shoulder up and my chin down a little bit to catch it on the other side. To do essentially a neck wrap either vertically or horizontally without using the arms. You may have to hold your arm out a little bit just to really lock it in there, but this is probably going to be very helpful for you in just transitions and flow and remedying moves that don't go quite right for you. Yeah. When I do this horizontally, I'm pushing my shoulder back. Check with your center point right here. Make sure it's outside. If it's inside, it's not going anywhere. If it's behind you, it will definitely travel around the back of your neck. So I have it locked in a little bit between my neck and my shoulder, between my chin and my shoulder. I'm going to push my shoulder back and bring my arm along with the staff as it comes around the second side to kind of absorb the impact of the staff and not have it just like swing around, right? Also, if you're having a hard time with this or if you're feeling vulnerable about your neck, use your other hand. You can totally use your other hand to break the movement of the staff in case it makes you a little nervous. So you absolutely have permission to use your hands to just gently help what you're doing. I threw another variation at you regarding the shoulder, neck, and then leaning back to get a roll down the body. You can approach that just from a neck wrap. So just from doing a vertical neck wrap, neck, and then instead of letting it go over the shoulder like you would in a shoulder, neck, shoulder, from here you're actually going to lean back. And I'm creating a line with my body here because I want the staff to travel down to my hip, center point on the outside. Once it gets down, rolls down to my hip, that's when I'm going to bend here because the staff wants to keep going. It'll bend, I can hook my foot, and then toss it up. Neck wrap, lean back, and I bend here, right? And I have this foot flexed so that you could even just practice it like this, so that the staff wraps around this folded leg, and then you can kick it up. Center point on the outside. If you want to just approach it like that, just to get that second half of this move, I'm leaned back, right? I'm trying to create a line right here. So I'm working on my balance and putting all my weight on one leg. But that's a way that we can just play with that. Check out where the center point is. Center point is right here. Thanks for being patient with this recap. I know it should have come at you a week ago. I remembered that we didn't have class this week, so you guys have a little bit more time for practice. Let me know if you have any questions, and if I'm leaving anything out of this video, let me know so that I could, put that in another video. Okay, have a great weekend.